Welcome to the Soapbox Sessions. Imagine this, an open and free internet where voices are never silenced, where causes aren't shadow banned, and where no one can be deplatformed. It's real, it's here, and it's happening on Nostr. So what exactly is Nostr? It's a worldwide community of everyday people working to decentralize the internet. On Nostr, you can build websites, communities, social networks, apps, and more. One login works everywhere, you own it, and no one can take it away. No more juggling dozens of platforms, chasing audiences, or managing a giant password list. And the cherry on top? Nostr allows for built-in digital payments that can come from anywhere in the world. On Nostr, value flows as freely as ideas. We're hooked on decentralizing the web, and we think you will be too. So now, let's hear from your hosts, Derek Ross and Heather Larson, who are working to grow Nostr one vibe at a time.
We're back for a second episode. Derek Ross, the DevRel for Soapbox, and the marketing director, Heather Larson. How are you, Derek?
You know what? I am great. I'm happy to be here again for another Soapbox Sessions. Last week, our very first episode, I think we killed it, and I'm happy and excited to be back here to do it again, but I think we can do better. You know, next week, we kind of like talked about all this news, and news is exciting, don't get me wrong, but you know, we're not a news show.
Last time we were on our best behavior, and people are not used to that from us.
Yeah, we were really super serious. Like, we could be
serious.
posting the meme of like super cereal of like Al Gore from what is that, South Park right now. That's what I have in my head. You know, this is 2 shows in a row now. Within the first like 60 seconds, we talked about memes.
Yes, and there are a lot today at the time of this recording, and it's a family show, so I don't want to mention today's memes. Maybe another day's memes we can mention. I think you were busy all day and didn't realize the chaos that was happening on Nostr.
I was busy all day working on Podster. So there's a very good chance that you're actually listening to this on Podster right now. Podster
you got it to work.
Will be... Yeah, I did. At the time of recording, what is today's date? Today is September 3rd. So we're actually launching tomorrow for your listening pleasure.
Ooh.
I'm really excited to launch Podster. But let's get into it, Heather. Let's talk a little bit about, well, maybe, you know, what is the Nostr? Because last week we spent like 20 minutes talking about all this Nostr news, but we didn't really let our new listeners know that, you know, what is this thing? What is this decentralized social future? Why are we so bullish about it? Why do we make a podcast about it? And why do we keep ranting and raving about it? You know, so...
You know, the bad way to describe Nostr is to say what it is, which is a protocol, because then you lose people with the word protocol.
Because
like,
what's
that's
a protocol?
Nerd word. You don't want to be nerds.
It is a nerd word.
No, it's a protocol, which means that it's a thing that you can build on, just like email was a protocol and is a protocol.
Absolutely.
But the key thing here is...
That's what I tell people, actually, Heather, when I do onboarding. You know, I do a little bit of the technical, so I go a little nerdy, and I say it is a protocol. But then I say, well... You use protocols every day. You use protocols in your web browser.
But you don't know it.
Right?
You don't know,
And you use protocols in your email, right? Like, you can have a Hotmail email address or an Outlook or a Gmail, and we can all talk to each other. And then you can use Firefox for your web browser. I could use Chrome or Internet Explorer. Actually, that may not even be around anymore.
I think it's
the
Edge
Microsoft
now.
one? Edge, Opera... Safari, you can use all these different web browsers, and they all kind of look at the same kind of web pages, right? But some have bells and whistles and extra features. Well, that's because it's all using the same protocol. So
that's Nostr.
we can have these choices, right? Yeah, exactly. Nostr's the same way. You can use an app that you want, just like you can use Chrome or Outlook, and I can use Gmail or Safari if I was an Apple user, which I am not an Apple user. And we can still view the same web pages. I had to get that in there, yeah. And I've never been an Apple user. I do hate Apple. You can't see it. You can't see it. For those of you watching this on the streams, the streaming platforms, but I do have a lot of Android figurines all around my office right now.
God, that's so nerdy, man.
I know. It's great.
Protocols and Android
I know.
figurines.
We're talking about like a grown man with like Android dolls and protocols. So I guess we're getting nerdy, but
we're getting super.
Let's bring it back.
Yeah,
Let's bring it back to normie land.
I had a thought today. Okay, because when you tell people like you should get on Nostr, and they're like, "What's that?" and then they're going to go into an app store because we're all attuned to looking at for the app store, whatever your respective app store is, and you're going to look for something called Nostr. And there's not like one thing called Nostr. It's actually many things with many different names. You can use it how you want. Got to figure out.
Well, you could
how you
search for Nostr and maybe you'd get a dozen apps back, right? Like maybe
Hopefully,
there'd
you would
be
get. Primal, I think, is the best one, in my opinion. If you're a brand new person, see, I'm gonna get that look from him. But no, Primal. Here's why I like
Primal's
Primal.
great.
I know you're an Android guy, so you like Amethyst, right? So these are just the
I
apps that you
do.
would download. Use.
We're getting nerdy again. We're talking all these client names, all
We're,
these
we're
apps.
talking client names. Okay, so I was out to dinner and I tried to get my friend to download Amethyst, and she did, and then she looked for my profile and it came up with like a bunch of my profiles, but it was like more than one, and it was like, oh, do I have like an impersonator? And it was like, I don't know, it was on a relay and it showed old profile pics, and then my friend, because she is that friend, she's like, I don't like this profile pic. You should use this one. And it was like she liked the current one, but the old ones that were showing up, she was like, I don't like that one. You should take that down. And I'm like, can you just stay on task here? I teach you how to use Nostr. And I realized that no, I could not. So I'm like, okay, I'm never gonna do that again. I'm gonna use Primal for onboarding people because it works on Android, it works on iOS, your iPhones, and it also has a built-in wallet, which maybe will work unless you're in New York State. So I think that that's maybe the lowest common denominator of it looks like Twitter, it offers a familiar experience, and the wallet is built in. So I think, in my opinion, and you might have a different opinion, it might be easiest to explain to people by using the Primal app. I also use Damus too, and that's a whole other story. So what do you use when you meet people and you're purple pilling?
Heather, do you remember a time, maybe, well, since we're old, many years ago, whenever you would be browsing the web and maybe you would be using a web page, or you would be looking at a certain web page, let's say under Chrome, and something didn't work right, and you're like, oh man, let me try insert another web browser.
That still happens.
Hey, it works in this web browser. Well, that's kind of like Nostr, right? We all have these multiple web browsers on our computers or on our phones. Well, the same thing. We have multiple Nostr apps on our devices, so we can swap between them for various reasons. Because again, some things work better under different apps. Some apps have more features.
Yes.
Some apps do things a little bit differently. And Primal's great for various people for various reasons. Primal has very easy to use features. It's very nice and slick, and like you said, it has a wallet built in, making zaps really easy. And last but not least, it's available on all platforms. So
and
until recently,
you can use it in your browser.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, and there isn't too many apps that say that can do that. Say they're available for iOS, they're available for Android, they're available on the web. There are some other ones, like Coracle is available for all platforms. Damus in different flavors is available for Android and available for iOS as well. Amethyst,
choose your own adventure.
I use. Yeah, Amethyst. I'm a big Amethyst maxi. That's my main daily driver on my Android phone, and I use Amethyst all the time. But Amethyst has some extra features, though, Heather. It's
that's what I've heard, because I don't get to play with it because
you don't know because you're on the iOS. Yeah,
but doesn't it? Okay, what are the cool things that Amethyst does? Like you can choose your own adventure.
Yeah, so you can choose your own adventure. So I will say that Amethyst is probably the most privacy forward-facing Nostr app out there. It comes with, because it has Tor enabled by default.
Oh.
For you to connect, so you connect over Tor to your various Nostr servers, which we call them relays. It's kind of confusing, but anyways, you connect to the Nostr network. Yeah, you connect to the Nostr network with Tor. And for those of you that don't know, Tor is Tor is a way to anonymize yourself. Think of it as like using an anonymous VPN. Think of it kind of like that.
Yeah. Does it slow the experience down on Amethyst, though? Because whenever I use a Tor browser, it's slow.
Tor is slow. Yeah. Well, Tor's almost always under attack by someone.
Somebody somewhere.
Some entity doesn't like people having privacy and is always attacking Tor. So
Imagine that.
Tor is a little bit slow, but I'll tell you what, I don't really notice it. I don't notice
Okay.
I connect to Nostr over Tor, and it works well for me. So Amethyst is good if you want privacy.
New to Nostr, you may experience like some apps are faster than others, and it kind of varies because it's built on relays. So I've noticed like sometimes Thomas is faster for me, sometimes Primal is faster. I flip back and forth between all the apps. That's kind of how I cruise through it.
Yeah, as I was saying earlier, just like web browsers, sometimes you'll do something on one app and then you're like, oh man, I need to switch over to this other, web browser or this other app, and you open it up and you do the thing. It's because we're early and some things work better on other apps. But what's the main thing that we kind of glazed over here is that the reason that we can do this is because like you said, it's all the same protocol, but because it's open and permissionless, and you don't have to ask permission to build anything, which means people are building many, many, many different apps, giving users choice. You can't do that with like Facebook or Instagram or Twitter.
Imagine
you have to use their platform.
If we went back in time and it were 2006 and they start Twitter, and the internet being what it was back then is not as good as we have now. We can, vibe code some apps if we wanted to. But there are some people who have been seriously building on Nostr for years now. And so imagine it's 2006. There's this new tool called Twitter. It comes along and you're like, this is cool, but I'd rather it look like Instagram, even though Instagram wasn't born yet in 2006. But just think about that. And you just go, I just want to look at pictures, or I just want to look at videos, and I just want to have the TikTok experience. You can kind of start to do that now. We have some different TikTok-like apps that are emerging. I can't name them all, but one I can think of off the top of my head is called Show. They're testing that one right now. So there is this experience right now with Nostr where people are just building Nostr apps, and they're saying, hey, let's build the next TikTok, but let's do it in a way that it's not run by any certain company or has any questionable liaisons with any public figures or governments. Let's just build it on Nostr, and it's free and it's open and there's no company behind it to screw it up. And so people are kind of just doing that, and they're building Nostr apps. And it's not like, I think one thing people would, if you're listening right now and you're like, oh, they're just talking about social media, you can pretty much build anything on Nostr, actually. So there's somebody's building an Apple TV app. Of course, I mentioned last week my friend the Wild Hustle. He is building the Runster fitness app. He's building a couple different Runster apps so you can track your fitness data using Nostr. And I'll take the word protocol out of it. I'll just say Nostr. So we're using Nostr to build a variety of different things, even healthcare apps, so you can privatize your healthcare record, for example. Shout out to Tim Booma, who's building something called Soapbox for that purpose of how can you keep your healthcare data record, private, and sign it yourself and prove that you're signing it. Because that's a whole other rabbit hole we could go down. I don't want to go too far.
So what I'm hearing you say here, Heather, is that Nostr is so much more than just a Twitter alternative, right?
Yeah, it's more than social media.
It's truly decentralized identity that you can take this identity that you own and you can use it in a plethora of applications, and you take all of that data with you. You take your entire social graph, all of your content, all of your data with you as you pop in and out of all these different applications, because you own it. It's yours. Whereas if you use, these other social legacy platforms, you don't own that data. You very easily can't take it with you. Some of them will allow you to download your existing data, but what are you going to do with it? Like, you download your Twitter data. Okay, so I have a whole bunch of JSON files, a whole bunch of raw text. What am I going to do with it? Right? Like, it's literally
meaningless
to me. So I can when I quit Twitter, I did download, 2 years ago or whatever. When I left Twitter, I downloaded all my Twitter data. I still have that zip file. What am I going to do with it? I have it, but it doesn't do any good. Yeah, that's what I could print it out and throw darts at it. I could.
Well, what happens if maybe you're an avid Facebook user and you get kicked out of Facebook one day? You go to Facebook jail and you can't get back in. You can't access your social graph. And when we say social graph, picture all of the people on Facebook in like a little graph or a little mind map. That's your social graph. So all those people gone. You can't message them. You can't interact with them anymore unless you've got their phone number or their email or something. If that was your one means of getting in touch with people for Facebook Marketplace, or people in your neighborhood or people in a city you used to live in, like I still got on Facebook for Wichita people because I live there, right? I would be totally cut off from a ton of people if I got locked out of Facebook. Like if they canceled me or put me in Facebook jail,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it, I would lose access to that. But Nostr,
Why
you
would you
don't lose
build?
access.
Why would you build your entire like social experience on somebody else's foundation that they
Why?
can take? Especially if you're a business owner or a creator, why would you do that? You're building your entire, your business, your self-worth on somebody else's platform where they can take it away
Yeah.
from you. That
Because let's
makes no
say
sense.
we see it happen. Like I've seen it happen. I won't name names, but there are certain people who maybe they have a Twitter following or they have a YouTube following, and they have YouTube. Maybe they put out a podcast every single day, and then one day they say something in a video and they get taken down, and they're locked out of their YouTube. The channel's not accessible, and
This
what do
happens
they
all
do?
the time. It's wild.
I know,
Like
but
it's increasing. That's the weird thing.
it's
Like it's
happening more
increasing.
often.
It's more commonplace. A few years ago, maybe you didn't know anybody that was censored or banned or
But now you
deplatformed.
do.
Now you probably have followed at least one person that disappeared from your feed. That you're
It's almost becoming
yeah.
like a rite of
It's like
passage.
a rite of passage. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like we laugh about it now.
Mom, I've made it. I've been banned.
So what happens is people end up. I see these people for the most of them. Most of the time, they're getting back into these accounts. They have to go through some kind of appeals process. Like there may be some recourse, but it might take days. It might take weeks. It took me weeks once to get my Instagram profile back and accessible and bring it back to life. They memorialized me. We mentioned that on the last episode, but
Yeah.
I had to prove I was alive, and it took weeks. It was 3 weeks.
Alive.
So like, imagine you are, building a business on YouTube or on Twitter, maybe that's how you're getting clients. Maybe you're DMing with your clients, like maybe you haven't jumped past that stage yet where you're just getting to know somebody and you don't have them in your CRM or whatever it is, but you lose access to, contact with human beings because everything's so splintered now. We have Signal, we have Telegram, we maybe actually text people, maybe we actually email people anymore, but there's so many apps. People are all on WhatsApp now. I mean, like there are so many different ways to keep in touch with people. It's overwhelming. But with Nostr, there's like one way. Like you just access people on Nostr, and that's super simple.
Because it's
no
your
matter
identity, and you own it,
it's your
and you can take it with you.
Yeah, so like my aha moment with Nostr was I logged into one of the apps. I don't even remember which one. And I was like, okay, so I have this login thing. And they say that it works with all of the other apps. So like, let me try some other apps with this login thing. And so I logged into the next app and the next app. And I was like, oh, this is cool because it imported everything. It imported the people I followed. It imported, my followers. And so I had like a similar feed, different experience in different apps, but it also was the same profile picture that I picked out. And it was the same bio that I'd written.
Which is very cool because you can't log into like your Twitter account with your Facebook account, right? You have to have all these different profiles. And then if
different
you're
passwords.
a business or a creator and you want to create content, you have to go and create the content on each of these platforms, or you have to use a third-party application that'll post for you on all these different products, all these different platforms, all these different services.
Yeah. And there's so many steps to logging.
It's a lot of work.
It really is. Because
it gives you a complicated process. Like, hey, which login am I using for this account? You have to have password managers to track your dozen different logins, all your different 2FAs, which is good. Like security and password managers are good. But what if you had one NSEC, one identity that you only had to secure? It just makes things easier.
Well, and
never have to worry about usernames and passwords again.
Never again. Well, you do have to secure your NSEC and your NPub's easy. That's public.
You have to practice safe NSEC. So you got to keep your NSEC in a password manager or some type of signing device or signing hardware, because it is different. than a username or password.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to geek out for a
We
second here.
do need to
And
explain what the NSEC and the
I can
NPub are
explain.
in detail.
All right.
Yes.
All right. So for those of you that are new to Nostr or unfamiliar with Nostr, you get these really long, complicated strings of letters and numbers. They're called cryptographic keys. You don't really need to understand
That's
what that
nerdy,
means.
man.
It is. But you need to understand that one of them is your private key. Think of that as like your password that you can never change. And then one of them is your public key. Think of that as your username that you can never change. And if you would lose the private key or leak it or somebody gets a hold of it, then they have full access to your public key, meaning they have full access to your username, full access to your profile. So you have to keep that safe, that private key, or also called an NSEC. You have to keep that secure. You have to keep it safe. You don't want to put that in every single app that you use. You want to use ways to secure, like signing devices or signing extensions,
Password
things like
manager.
that.
Just put in your
Password
password
manager,
thing.
absolutely.
If
Yeah.
you are on iOS, it's built into your phone and your Mac.
If I use Facebook and I forget my username or password, I can ask Mark Zuckerberg. I fill out this form and like, hey Mark, can you reset this for me?
Password
and
reset.
He'll be like, yo dog, I'll hook you up. And because Mark's cool now, with his gold chain, and he comes out and he hooks you up and he resets your username or password for you. Like, thanks dog. Well,
so here's an easy way.
We don't have a Mark, and that's good. Like, you're in charge.
No, we have Derek.
Yeah, you have a Derek. Well, you have a Derek, but Derek cannot reset your NSAC or your NPub. It doesn't work like that.
No. Here's an easy way to remember it, though.
You can ask Derek for help, but Derek cannot help you with that.
Can't do it for you. To keep them straight, obviously keep them in a password manager if you were choosing. But the one that starts with NPUB, NPub, that's your public key. And then the one that starts with NSEC or NSEC is your private key. So just think like
or your
NSEC,
secret key.
Secret, like secret or security, and then just don't ever like raw dog that into anything. Just like keep it safe. Keep it safe.
You got to keep it safe. You got to keep it safe.
Practice safe NSECs.
That's one of my favorite sayings. Or it's true. Heather, we talked about why Nostr, we're using it, but we didn't really talk about how we got to using Nostr. So how did you discover Nostr? What is your origin story? I don't actually know this.
Really? We've never talked about this.
No.
I think
we just
maybe
we
similar
skipped that moment.
Okay, so there was this time when I was in social media marketing. I was working in an agency, and Twitter had been purchased by one Elon Musk, and I think everybody decided kind of simultaneously that was a death knell for Twitter. But this was like 3 years ago.
After he bought it, I started looking into, or he was like rumored he was going to buy it. I started posting on the Fediverse. I was going to go to the Fediverse.
I did try the Fediverse. I tried everything. I loved Twitter since day one. I think I joined in 2007. Or 2006. I can't remember. Because I was working from home, freelancing, and so I was on the internet a lot. I was also going to school online at Boston University. So the internet was my life, man. It was just there. And I was like, oh, here's another place I can screw off. And I just love Twitter. And, aside from the classroom blackboard, if you were online back in the day for college, you remember that whole mess where we used to have these message boards for online school, man. But I didn't want to let the Twitter go. And so I still have the same accounts and I refuse to let them go. But Twitter, unfortunately, changed.
To this day, you still have your Twitter account. You did.
Yeah, I have the original one, and it's turned into like my radio only one, but I'm not on the radio right now, so I've let it go again. But then I have my other one that I actually use. So I refuse to let Twitter go. Like if I let it go, it will be with claw marks on it. I have friends who were part of the Twitter purge. But I was not a part of that, so I still have my Twitters. So I thought, well, maybe there will be a replacement. And there along came so many Twitter alts. I tried them all. None of them really sucked me in, first of all. I really wanted to be on Blue Sky, and then that didn't suck me in. And, I finally got the invite. Nothing was ever going to be like Twitter, right? And I don't love Instagram. I don't love TikTok. I'm a Twitter girl, right? So I couldn't find a replacement, but since I was in social media marketing, I thought at the time something for sure is going to come along and replace Twitter. I think we all thought that, but I think what has happened
Absolutely.
instead, that the internet is splintered off into many different interests, many different communities. People use social media has been around for 20 years. People use things differently. So, I'm not saying Twitter's dead, but Twitter's kind of dead. A lot
Twitter's
of
been dead to
times.
me for 2 years since I nuked my account. Nostr only for me.
Yeah, it's rough. It's got a lot of ads. It's got a lot of algorithms. You really can't build a following there. The whole thing's changed, right? So there was this
It's just a
moment in
different
time.
vibe.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Twitter's just a complete different vibe.
Yeah. Well, when it started,
I don't think I could ever go back. I mean, I don't
no.
want to.
We've ruined these things over time, and the quest to make them better. Like Twitter started with this reverse chronological feed, which is kind of what Nostr has now. So it's easy to you can keep up if you want, or you can just tune in when you want and see what's going on.
So how did you come to hear about Nostr? How did you come to hear
it was
about
Jack Dorsey, that guy. He had posted about it, and I thought, well, maybe this is the new Twitter. If Jack is
so you joined back in December of 22. Whenever I joined,
I think I did, or sometime after. I think it was February 2023 in February.
Okay.
Was when it
So
actually
you were part of
opened.
when Damus launched on the App Store.
Yeah, so that's you know the timeline. So that's
I
when
do.
I logged in and started the profile, and I thought,
I'm that Nostr nerd. I got my timelines. I know them.
He knows everything about. He's been there the whole time. I don't know how, but he's been there. We'll find out in a minute. But he's been there the whole time. I logged in and I was like, okay, so it's like another Twitter. What do I do here? How do I find people? How do I follow people? Because it was a little bit rough still in early 2023.
Yeah.
So...
we had trouble finding people. User discovery has gotten slightly better, but it was very, very bad, I'll say, in the beginning days. So but it was chaotic and fun though, right?
Yeah, I think
we would go into the global feed or universe feed, and we were using the various hashtags to find people. It was a lot of fun.
I think my first post I would probably be ashamed of, because I would probably have posted some things just to see if I could get away with them, like can't cancel me here. So I'm sure that they're salty or salacious, but
my first post was "Hello World." That's what you post. Yeah,
I think mine was probably something salty. I don't remember what it was, but my early posts were like,
"You can't ban me."
Ban me, mofo. So I kind of logged out and went, well, this isn't going to be the thing. This isn't going to be the replacement for Twitter, and neither is anything else. So I came back later because I had moved.
So you weren't hooked in the beginning, and then how long until you came back?
It was
did you come back and try a different? 8 or 9 months. Okay, so you would have come back around December, January.
No, it was about end of November, because I had some free time on my hands, because I moved back to Arizona and we had a sick family member, and so I had some time to sit in the corner of the room and kill some time taking care of my aunt. And so I was just killing time scrolling on Nostr, and it sucked me in. And I don't know, the rest is kind of history, because I'd also moved back here. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, and we have Nostr Phoenix, which is a very small group of Nostr nerds. There's maybe 7 to 10 of us if we have a meetup, on a good day. And so I had been in Wichita, and there weren't any. I'm a Bitcoiner, right? So I hadn't found any Bitcoin meetups, and I thought of starting a Bitcoin meetup, and I was like, oh, I'm going to move to Phoenix anyway. Screw it. I'm not going to do it. And I thought, well, if there's no Bitcoiners here, there's certainly, nobody's on Nostr here. Nobody's heard of it. I work remotely. Who cares? I'll just move to Phoenix. Oh, look, they've got a Nostr group.
But you found your flock, didn't you?
I found my fellow nerds. Shout out to Sam and QW and Santos and Heidi, and that's pretty much the regulars who might show up.
There's dozens of us. Dozens. We're everywhere.
Nostr Phoenix is small, but we are mighty. We make a lot of noise. A lot of cool things come out of Phoenix. So I got in with those guys, and we put on a concert immediately in 2024 called Culture Shock. And it was also not very well attended. We had dozens of people came out. We had Sarah Jade.
But you had several musicians show up and play at that, if I remember correctly, right?
We had Sarah Jade. We had Sarah Jade played.
And I got to meet her finally. I was super happy to meet her in Vegas.
In Vegas,
yeah.
Yeah, because she's actually
super talented.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Her and Jesse.
Somebody called her like a Pat Benatar kind of voice. I don't know. That was a good, I
I
think,
can see
comparison.
that.
Very,
Okay,
like, she's
yeah.
got a rock band, she's got a pop, she can do it all. So she did a show for us that was February of 2024, and what was cool about that is it was a Nostr show. So like you can do more than just social media on Nostr. So we had Toonster live streaming the show, and she made money because people on the internet sent her money, and she made, I don't remember the price of Bitcoin that day. It was probably like 50 grand, we'll say, just for the sake of argument. Somebody knows this information, but not me. And so she made the equivalent. And I'm talking about, this is a musician playing her, half hour of original music, made about $750. Just her and her husband. He's
That's
playing guitar.
more than she would have made probably
Oh,
at
you're
a
not gonna make
club.
that at a bar. Like, go to
Yeah.
Jerry's bar in Wichita and play cover songs, and you might make $100. I don't know. Like, it's not gonna work. So, like, that's one thing you can do with Nostr is you can broadcast a show to the world, and the musician gets paid, directly to their wallet. So that's kind of like how I came into Nostr. Just kind of found a group of people that were like, "Hey, let's build something. Nobody's gonna tell us no. Like we can just like hook
But
things up."
that was
And
your aha moment. That was your aha
yeah,
moment, right?
that
That
was watching
it
it.
was more than just a social network. It was a
Mm-hmm.
way to build, it was a way to
Real life.
extract and participate in value for value. It was a way to
Mm-hmm.
empower people such as musicians. Like
Yeah.
Nostr is so much more than just social media. It really is. And it's hard for people to understand that, I think, because they come
Yeah.
into it with the same attitude that they've had for the past, near 2 decades of using legacy social
Mm-hmm.
media.
Well,
Nostr's very different. It's a different
the
mindset. You have to
problem.
kind of like retrain your brain.
Yes, like the problem with the legacy social media, and I still see it to this day, and I certainly am one of the people who participates in it as well, as everybody's trying to be a content creator. And why are we doing this? Because we want to beat the algorithm, because we've been trained
Absolutely.
instead of building like a real relationship, like becoming friends with Derek Ross, who lives on the opposite end of the country from me, like we could just become friends and realize that
It's
we
not
like the same
about
thing.
being social. It's about trying to
Right.
create content. It's really weird.
It's about trying to be
Everyone is
clever.
trying to everyone's trying to be clever and go viral and game the algorithms. Whereas
Yeah.
that on Nostr, we don't really have algorithms at our core level. So we're trying to be social.
Yeah.
It's
Social.
an actual social experience.
Meet each other, talk to each other, go to a concert
Think
together.
about Nostr giving us back our humanity and our
Mm-hmm.
capability to be social, right?
Yeah.
You don't have that anymore on these large social platforms because they're designed to not only steal your attention, but to incentivize you to use AI tools and AI
To try and
slop
go
content
viral.
to try to go viral. And some
But
of
you
them are
can't go
even
viral now.
building they're building these like tools in. So being social really has really changed.
Yeah, being
Whereas
social is a killer
Nostr,
app now. Like if you can get along with people
yeah,
and you actually provide
well,
something of
yeah,
value that people.
we have to comment on each other's content. We have to reply. We have to
You got to
interact. We have to
participate.
actually engage and be social on Nostr. Otherwise,
Yeah, people have lost that.
you're going to get lost in the
You,
crowd because you're right.
yeah.
People have lost that I don't know, that like core
But you get on
value of
Twitter and it's,
uh,
you don't have to
they're
try.
just
Everything's fed to you. You don't have to
and
try and find anything.
and sometimes people just want to consume content, and that's fine, right? Like you
Oh
don't
yeah.
always have to engage and interact. Sometimes you just want to, like
Mm-hmm.
when you'd veg out and you watch TV or something. You're just consuming content, and
I
that's
think a lot of
fine.
people passively consume. I think a lot of people sign up for TikTok and maybe they never post and they just passively consume and
Yeah,
scroll like that. I think a lot of
and
people
that's
do
fine.
that. Oh yeah.
But people that are actually posting, how many of them are really trying to be social versus trying to game an algorithm to go viral,
Right.
right?
We've been
Like
trained to do it.
Nostr allows us to get our humanity back in
Yeah.
that
Well, very
regard.
few social media platforms are going to let you game the algorithm anymore because they do constantly move the goalpost and change the algorithm. I think it messes with people's self-esteem. And when I say people, I'm thinking directly about like musicians, content creators, people who kind of bare their soul with their creations, whether it's music or, like I'm a yoga teacher, right? And I realized pretty quickly I'm not going to make it on Instagram because I don't post like crazy photos or videos of me doing, wild like scorpion pose. Like I'm not balancing on my head on a cliff to try and get likes and
Now that
shares.
sounds exciting.
Right. They're
Balancing on a
probably too
cliff?
exciting.
You could
That's too
you
exciting.
could?
But I see these people here. It's like, because I live in Arizona, right? You go to Sedona and there's always like somebody on a cliff somewhere, like trying to do a yoga pose so they can post it on
Oh
Instagram.
no.
And it's like so
That
distant. And they're
that's
probably great
like
yoga teachers,
maybe
but,
maybe I'm old, but that's like instant cringe if I would see that. Like I was just like,
Yeah,
ugh,
I think my Gen Z niece would say that too. She'd say, that's cringe. That's just cringe. Like,
it
ew,
is.
she would do that. So how did you get into Nostr? Since you were apparently around when they rolled the stone away and Fiat Joff came out of the cave.
No, I wasn't. Well, so I did join Noster in about August of 2022. One of my
Mm,
one of
3 years.
big, yeah, actually, yeah, but it didn't stick like you. It didn't stick. I
Mm-hmm.
remember my friend from Bitcoin Twitter. He told me that he was going to start working on this thing called Nostr. He kept telling me over and over and over again to check it out. His name is Semisol, and he told me to check it out. And
Ah.
finally, I'm like, okay, fine, I'll check it out. And I remember looking at it and being like, no, this is horrible. It doesn't work.
Oh, I'm
It's
sure it was a
clunky.
mess
It's
3 years ago.
ugly. I am not going to use this. I'm like
Ah,
laughing at him, like just completely laughing at him. Like, he's like, you clown. Like, this isn't going to work. Like,
was there an Android
and
app though?
no, no, there wasn't an Android app. I was using a
That's
web
what it
app.
was.
I was using like Bronly, like Fiat Jeff's like original like proof of concept app.
That's
So,
way before my time.
well, so what I didn't understand was it was very, very early days, and there was only a handful of developers working on it, and I didn't understand what it was. I thought it was a Twitter alternative. That's what I thought. So then I kind of didn't pay attention to Nostr for the next 4 months. I deleted or threw out or got rid of or lost my NSEC. Like that identity is long gone. And then I remember on Twitter, Jack Dorsey said, hey, I need to fund something. I want to fund an open source project. What is an open source project that needs funding? Something along those lines. And a whole bunch of Bitcoiners and some people that I had known were Bitcoin developers started replying, Nostr needs funding. And I was like, what? What is Nostr? And why do these like respected Bitcoiners like? Why are they interested in having
Dude,
this thing called
devs
Nostr?
know everything first.
Yeah. So I'm really curious, and I'm like, wait a second, this is that thing that my friend told me about, and I don't think I checked it out the first day, and then like the next day, Jack made another tweet saying something along the lines of, "Hey, Bitcoin Twitter, you should check out Nostr. It shares a lot of the same ethos as Bitcoin, something along those
It
lines."
does. Yeah.
And I said, okay, all right, that's good enough for me to check it out and actually look into it. And I did, and it immediately clicked with me once I realized that I could kind of take my identity and sign into different applications. It clicked with me once I realized the ethos of Bitcoin was very similar to it. So with Bitcoin, you can own your own financial transactions and be
Run
in
your own
charge.
bank.
Yeah, you can be your own bank. You can be in charge of your own financial transactions. So with Nostr, you can be your own communication server. You can store and be in charge of all of your communication if you want to. So it's very similar to Bitcoin. And as soon as I realized that, saying, oh, I run a Bitcoin node. I can run a Nostr node. Okay, now we're talking. Okay, that sounds
AKA
really
a
cool.
relay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so I immediately fell in love with it, and then I realized how easy it was to build because I'm not a full stack developer, but maybe now I am thanks to vibe coding.
You're getting there.
That's another show. That's another show.
I think the last hackathon they said that you put the dev in DevRel, and I was like, oh, really? What's he
Yeah,
doing? Look at all these commits. Holy cow.
I was making some commits, man. Like, thank you, Claude
God,
and
we are
Stacks.
such nerds. Oh my god.
Anyways, so I realized it was easy for somebody that didn't have a whole lot of skills in the development department to build. I was a technical guy. I do a lot of technical stuff. So I took it upon myself to build some early Nostr tools. And that kind of What?
Some.
Some.
He's
But
like, he's being humble. He's built a whole bunch. He's built more things than I can count on my two hands with my extra
but
fingers. Too.
but so well, in the beginning, the very first thing I built was actually the T-shirt that I'm wearing right now, Nostrplebs,
I have
and
Nostrplebs.
I know you do. You're a Nostrplebs user. Yeah.
You should
So what
probably
is
explain what that is.
Nostrplebs?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Nostrplebs, think of it as an identity service. So earlier in the show, I said that your profile, your Nostr public key is this really ugly and complicated string of numbers and letters. No one's ever going to remember that.
No, and you can't type it out like a
Maybe
password.
people much
either.
smarter than Derek can remember it. Derek is not going to remember that. So
somebody somewhere with a photographic memory. Not
yes, yeah, exactly. Like some savant is going to remember it. So what you can do is you can tie that and link it to something that looks like an email address. To a domain, a website.
So what is I'm like Heather at Nostrplebs.com. Is that what I am?
Something like that.
You don't even have to know what your identity is on Nostr. You just like sign up for things and you're like, oh yeah, what is that thing again?
So I realized that Nostr supported linking your complicated identity to a more friendly identity. And I basically invented this website to do this. Nobody else had done this before. Nobody was selling these. And I
Many
invented this
Nostr firsts here on Soapbox Sessions.
So yeah, I became the first person to sell and be a Nostr service provider and sell services, and I kind of fell into that. Like I didn't want
Did you get rich off of that?
Well, yeah, like I'm broadcasting from an island right now.
He made like $5, man.
Well, maybe, but so what happened was I did this for like a dozen of my friends. Because they said, hey, Derek, you have this cool little identifier in this check mark by your name. I want that. So
I used
said, okay,
to log
friends.
into something the other day, too.
So I set it up for a dozen friends, and then those dozen friends told a dozen friends, and those dozen friends told a dozen friends, and so forth. And now all of a sudden I have hundreds of people DMing me saying, hey, can you set me up the way that you set up so-and-so, or I want what you have. And I set it up for a couple people, and then one person said, hey, I can pay you for this. Here's some money. Here's can you give me a lightning invoice and I'll pay 10,000 sats for it. I was like, oh, wait a second. You give me Bitcoin for doing this?
Pay me money? Pay me a couple bucks?
And then lo and behold, I decided, okay, well, I'm not going to mess around. I'm going to do this. And I worked with my friend Semisol, who I was mentioning earlier, and we made an application to
Semisol's a dev.
To sell Nostr addresses and be an identity service provider for people. And that's kind of how I got started. But because I was having hundreds of people DM me for this service, and now we've, over the course of the past, 2.5 years, we've sold like, I don't know, almost over 6,000 of these names, these identities, these Nostr addresses.
How many?
So over 6,000.
Damn, bro. That's a lot of Nostrplebs.
It's a lot of Nostrplebs. So,
and what is a pleb? Like, because I got asked this at dinner the other day. What is a pleb? And I was like, it's like person.
It's a plebeian. A plebeian.
A plebeian.
It's short for a plebeian. Yeah.
That's what my friend Phil said, and my other friend looked at him and went,
Because if the elites are your kings and your queens, the top tier, the ruling class. And then the peasants, the plebs, the people that are, down in the trenches. That's the plebs making everything work. So yeah, so Nostr.
Yeah, we're just Joe the plumber. We're just Joe plumbers, I guess. Just average Joes.
I guess then because I was, people were sliding into my DMs left and right asking for help with Nostr because I was the guy that was selling services. So obviously I knew what I was talking about.
You became the guy.
I was the guy for Nostr help. So it was like, hey, how do I do this? That's how I became the guy, is helping people. And I do that. I've done that professionally for the past, 25 years, helping people with technology. Yeah. Well, the funny, so last year in BTC Prague 2024, the CEO of the Primal app that we were talking about earlier, we were on stage doing a talk about Nostr, and I don't remember if it was I asked the question or somebody asked the question, saying, hey, Nostr's early and buggy. What do we do if we need help? And he's like, you DM Derek. I was like, no, don't do that. My DMs are already on fire. Like,
Oh my God. That's how it
but
started.
that's honestly the truth. Like, I like helping people with technology. I like people to help people understand technology and things that I'm passionate about. I've done that my whole life. So it's a good role for me. And I love helping people. So yeah, I kind of fell into this role of helping people with Nostr because Nostr was very technical in the beginning, and I would say it's still fairly technical today.
It's
So
still a little bit
lo and
technical.
behold, here we are.
We're getting so close to the point where it's a little bit less technical, and a lot of people are building apps that people are just going to sign
Things
up
are getting
for.
better.
Yeah, they're sneaking on that.
Some apps are better than others.
Yeah,
Like,
some apps are.
some will do onboarding completely, like, and actually have an
Yeah.
onboarding, and then other apps, they don't even know what that word means. They don't have onboarding at all.
Yeah, I think if I had to do it all over again, I would definitely, park on Nostr land and not build on Instagram land or Facebook land, or not that anybody's on Facebook anymore. I mean, but people still seem to want to use it for things like groups or marketplace. It's so easy to get canceled there. And of course, the same thing, happens on Twitter. Like my friend who was part of the Twitter purge, and she, tried to jump off to other things, and she jumped onto Truth Social because she's of the Truth Social persuasion. And now she's complaining about that. She says, well, this sucks now. There's nothing but ads here. It's hard to even see what
And,
my
we don't
friends
have ads, right? Like, we don't have things that are trying to steal your
No.
attention on Nostr. Now, that doesn't mean that we won't someday.
Memes are stealing
But
our attention.
yeah, memes do steal a lot of
I made
laughs and
some
a lot of
today.
attention.
Wait till you see
made
what
some
happened
memes?
on Nostr while you were busy this afternoon.
I'm scared. But that brings us to another point about Nostr is that anything can go, and that means that people can be their true selves, and we have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun.
The thing that, like, while you were away from your desk this afternoon, there was a whole lot going on, and it was weird, and it was dumpster fire-ish.
Were we keeping Nostr weird? Because that's
very weird, and
that's like an unofficial nip, right?
We
like,
do
oh,
we
man.
do keep Nostr weird.
Oh
but
man,
here's the thing.
Heather, what are nips? I don't know if we've talked about the nips yet.
Nips or Nostr improvement proposals? Is that what the words?
Implementation possibility.
Oh, okay, I can make up my own words for things because in my head that's what it is.
It is. All right, you need to look this up. Nostr implementation possibility.
I'm
because
supposed to know this.
Because they're not required. You don't have to implement them.
Dude, I had
it's a possibility
from this. She like wanted me to read all the nips so that I could vibe code something later. That you have to read the nips. You have to see what everybody's arguing about. But that's like really nerdy. So,
but it is nerdy. At the end of the day, technology works best when it fades into the background. So all these glossary terms that we're talking about, we're talking about relays, and we're talking about identities and keys and cryptography. Honestly, that's cool for some people, but
you don't really need to know
on the planet
any of it.
Don't care about it, right?
Like you don't need to know any of this.
It needs to be abstracted away.
Yeah,
the best apps won't even. The best apps won't showcase any of this stuff. I think Primal and Damas do a good job with that, I think.
In the very near future, and I'm thinking of in terms of 2026, as the year begins and the needles have fallen off the Christmas tree, and you're wondering, where online do I build my business? I think Nostr probably could work for you. I think if you stick to the open source ecosystem and you're using Nostr, maybe you don't have to give anything up too. You can stay on Twitter if you must, or whatever, wherever you are now. It could be Blue Sky or Mastodon. It doesn't matter. Like you probably already have some audience that you've built, and just in case you're about to be canceled for whatever the next canceling thing is, you can always just say, hey, you can also find me on Nostr. Like if anything happens to me here's my Nostr.
You can kind of cancel people on Blue Sky.
Dude, I got canceled on Blue Sky already. I'm on all these block lists.
Oh, me too. Yeah, me too.
Because I mentioned Bitcoin.
I did. 2 years ago, whenever I got my invite, I was like, hey, Blue Sky, what's up? I'm posting about Bitcoin on Nostr, so I'll post about Bitcoin on Blue Sky. And then I was literally attacked and called all these vile names and
Oh, so you got
accused
canceled?
of doing all this vile stuff. Oh yeah, it's really bad.
Well, I got
and then I
it was
and then
very
I got added to like
underhandedly.
1,000 different mute lists. Oh, I'm
Yeah,
on
I'm on
like
the mute
1,000
list.
different mute lists. Like,
Yeah, because
it's
well, I don't like
crazy.
crypto people either, so like that's fine. But 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 no, I
It was
found out that I was on the
wild.
block list because okay, so if you are familiar with Blue Sky, then it is another protocol like thing, but there's a lot of developers build apps for it too, and you can find them in the Blue Sky directory. And so I found one called Clear Sky, I think is the name of it, where you can find out what all block lists are that you're on. I'm on so many, and it's just so funny because it's like I think people have misunderstood what I'm all about, but cool. So I've been trying to post things on Blue Sky again to see if anything happens, but nothing happens there
You
because I
know,
think I'm shadow banned.
Ainsley Costello that has our
Mhm.
intro for our
Yes,
podcast.
the wonderful Ainsley.
She was accused of being me, or I was accused of being her. They on Blue
On Blue
Sky,
Sky.
they accused us of being the same person.
Oh my god! So let
Because
me tell you how that would work on
she's
Nostr.
she's a beautiful person and came to my defense when they were attacking
Aw.
me. She's like, "Oh, Derek's good and nice, and Bitcoin is good and nice." And they're
Yeah.
like, "Who is this? Is this your other profile, Derek?" Like,
I think Blue Sky has a lot of bots, but I think yeah, I think posting there is a lost cause. I do it anyway.
yeah,
And
I don't.
I can't
Nostr
get it to
only.
work with it doesn't work with third party apps, by the way. I've noticed that. But
I need
and
like
I
an.
post
I'm gonna drop the Nostr gang sign here. Yeah, like every time I say
Is that an ostrich?
Nostr only, I
A
gotta.
ostrich?
Yeah, it's an ostrich.
Oh my god! You look like the guy in the meme where he's sprinkling the glitter. Like you look like that guy with this glitter
Oh,
sprinkle guy. I forget the name of that meme, but yeah.
yeah, no, I know what you
That's what
mean.
you look like.
I like
But
it. I
no.
like it. You know what? Now someone's gonna screen cap that and make another Derek meme. Why
Oh my
did I do
god.
that?
See, once they make memes of you, man, see this is how this would go. Like if somebody tried to cancel you or anybody else, if somebody tried to cancel you on Nostr, people would just talk smack, they would just make memes, they would
No,
just
you
make
know what?
jokes.
I'm just a guy, and people
Just a
can
pleb.
cancel me if they want to. I'm just a Nostrpleb.
You're just a Nostrpleb. Well, I can mute you if I wanted to, like
In the
'cause you can't really
centralized
block
service that we're
people.
using.
Yeah, well, you can. It doesn't always work, but like I will mute certain content.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
around the
You know,
election,
yeah.
for my peace of mind, I muted the word vote. I muted the word ballot because I'm like, just for my mental health, I don't want to hear news about the election because I know I'm not going to vote and I don't care what happens anyway.
Well,
So
that's
like, I just
because you are in charge of your own social feed. You have to be your
Yeah.
own algorithm, and that includes choosing the type of content that you want to
Back
see.
to that mindset shift that kind of has to happen if you're gonna, I don't want to say survive on Nostr, but if you want to enjoy Nostr, you got to find things to follow that you like, and then you also kind of have to go through and mute things that you don't like. And then I never went back into unmute vote and ballot, so it's still muted to this day. And every once in a while, like notes show up in my feed, and it says, this is muted, and I'm like, oh, what did I mute? And I'm like, oh, why did I mute that? Oh, that must be
I don't
from
remember.
elections.
I don't remember who said this, Heather, but somebody that I follow on Nostr said that if you mute the word Bitcoin on Amethyst, it automatically triggers an uninstall. I mean,
yeah, there's.
That's not true, but that's
content.
not true, but it's hilarious because there is a lot of Bitcoin content on Nostr.
There's a lot of Bitcoin content. Not all of it is good, but I guess that's probably true of any content anywhere. But if you don't like Bitcoin, you can just mute it. Just mute the word.
Well, Heather,
have to say
this is actually a valid point because I think one of the criticisms of Nostr is that there is a lot of Bitcoin content, and it's kind of like a Bitcoin echo chamber, and not everybody in the world is a Bitcoiner.
I enjoy it.
Right? Well, yeah, you and I don't care because we're Bitcoiners, but 99% of the world is not Bitcoin. It does not give a shit about Bitcoin. So
they just want to post whatever they want to post or follow what they want to follow, which you can do.
If you think about it, somebody had to be first on Nostr. Some group of people has to be first. The people that recognize
nerds of Bitcoin were
Bitcoiners recognize decentralization. Bitcoiners recognize censorship resistance. They recognize being able to own your content. They recognize being able to own your attention, own your identity. All these freedoms in technology, or
we like freedom.
Technology.
We like sovereignty. We don't like to be canceled or banned. And I can't say any of the words because I don't want the I don't want the gods of YouTube to ban us for me saying any of the words. But like, if knowing that we're going to actually put this recording on YouTube is making me self-censor right now. So like, if we were only putting this podcast in one place on Nostr, it wouldn't be an issue. But so there's probably a laundry list, and probably don't have to tell anybody what those words are, but there are certain words that you can say and you're going to get banned, or at least shadow banned, or downvoted is what Mosseri from Instagram calls it. Downvoted.
And
Your content's
that
getting
can't happen
downvoted.
on Nostr. Nobody
No,
can ban
it
you.
can't. You can post whatever you
It-
want. Now, there's consequences to that. If you post
Oh,
nasty
absolutely.
stuff, you're going to get
Yeah,
muted, and
there's
nobody's gonna
consequences to
interact with you.
everything, and
Yeah.
but you can
more like
say
real
and do
life.
anything you want. Exactly
Yeah,
like real
there's
life.
not all these funky platform rules, because again, we're not a platform. Like Nostr is just, it's a bunch of people who worked on a thing and built it, and then we're running it on relays, and so like it's gonna be there as long as there's enough relays to support it.
Let's say
Maybe
that you're a
forever.
controversial person, Heather, like you are, right? Like you
Mhm.
say,
If I
if you're
wanna
a
say
controversial
words.
person, if you want to say words, you can run your own Nostr server, which we call relays. You can
go
run your
nuts.
own, and you can put all of your controversial content on your own relay, and nobody can take
Mhm.
that away from you. And no one can ban you except for yourself,
Well, and that's what we
which
see
is
some
really cool
people.
because you can't do that anywhere else.
It's interesting what comes to Nostr, and I'm not a person who's sensitive, overly sensitive, I should say. I am a little bit sensitive, but I'm not overly sensitive about what shows up in my feed, right? Like I will, therefore, like I know people don't do this anymore, but Derek, I follow people that I don't agree with. I don't agree with their posts. I don't agree with
I
their
zap
opinions, but
people I don't agree with if it's a
yeah,
good post.
I
Good as in
follow
the
people. Yeah,
content is good. Maybe not good because I agree with it, but yeah,
exactly.
if it's a good piece of content or a good reply,
Yeah,
sure,
views are
I'll
my own.
zap it.
Yeah,
Like
and so it makes an
I
interesting
follow a
feed.
lot of people I don't agree with because
Well,
it's nice to not have an echo chamber.
it's
I like to
nice to
see
see.
a variety of content.
Right. What do other people think? I think I definitely fell into this years ago where I was creating an echo chamber, and I was like, oh God, I really have to stop. I really have to follow people with different views. Like this isn't helping me. And I, I worked in news, and so I was used to hearing things from all sides all of the time. And then after a while, you realize that, oh, that does add something to my life. And then if I don't like it, I can scroll past it, or I can just roll my eyes and go, there goes that guy again, posting about that thing that, he really believes in. And I find it silly, but there, God bless him, and that's freedom of speech, is that, we all have the freedom to say what we want. And if I just say some innocuous phrase, and it's not going to get caught by the censors of Mark Zuckerberg, because, oh God, it might be, wrong speak or whatever, like I have the freedom to say what I want, and so do other people. And this does mean that some people who are feeling disenfranchised from other platforms do show up on Nostr. So you're going to get all kinds of weird information. You're going to get all
Yeah.
kinds of weird takes and opinions.
Absolutely.
But isn't that what life is about?
It's like the I don't know, what's the Statue of Liberty? Give us your whatever.
You're tired, you're poor.
Give her
Bell
you're
is
tired,
silent.
you're poor. Yeah, it's like give us your banned, you're censored, you're
Yeah, give us your silence. Like my niece is shadow banned on Twitter. You can't even find her with her username. It doesn't even show up. It just kind of has like a little arrow that cycles, and like she doesn't come up, and her friends don't come up, and it's like, really, my little 23-year-old with her views is like threatening to Elon Musk's Twitter, like really, and then like the fact checking and the community notes and things. Like I have one.
we
Twitter
don't have any of that yet.
Yeah, none of that.
Right?
And that's like, you know what? Because we've come
And
to a
I
place
say
in
yet because no one's
society.
decided to build it. The
You
same
can
as
build
like
it
these
if you want.
algorithms, and like
Well,
we don't have a rage algorithm, but somebody could absolutely build a rage algorithm if they wanted to.
I'm
Somebody could
afraid.
build an ad platform. Somebody could build they could build
Oh, yeah.
community
Whatever you want.
notes. Like anybody could build
You
what
can
they
build
want.
what
But
you
the cool
want.
thing is that if I don't want to
Please
use
do.
that, I don't have to.
You
I
can
don't
opt
have to
out.
use it. Like
Huh.
if Heather, if you build the community notes app and I don't like your community notes, I can go back to whatever app I want to. I can build my own.
Yeah. The funny thing now is you see these community notes on platforms, and like I think I saw some on Twitter where like immediately a news story went out, immediately it had a community note, and immediately people were like, Grok, is this true? And like who knows if Grok knows if it's true, or like you make stuff up too. Like you got to know how to evaluate information. And when you create an echo chamber, you're not evaluating information anymore. You're just creating things that appeal to your confirmation bias. But we can live in a world where we go, I kind of know that what that guy posted that just came across my feed, I kind of know that that's BS. But I don't need to care about it. It doesn't need to have a community note on it, and I'm, of a certain age that I've lived through some things so that I know when I see some information come across my feed, I'm like, wow, that's a bald-faced lie. That is totally propaganda. And I think to myself, isn't that nice? A person has the right to post that if that's important to them, or they agree with that, or that's what they like, whatever. They have the freedom of speech to post that, whether it's wrong or right. I don't care. But like, isn't it nice that we have
The
freedom of
fact
speech?
that they can do it is what's
We,
cool.
yeah, we have the freedom to post what we want. We don't have a company breathing down our neck, which sounds innocent, right? Oh, it's just the company doesn't want you to post that. Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg, they just don't want you to post that. Okay, well, why don't they want to post that? Because of ads, or maybe they got some governmental pressure
Well, that's
during
what
an
a lot of
American.
people don't realize about ads. I think
Mhm.
is that ads are the whole entire reason certain algorithms exist. The whole reason
Mhm.
that you're seeing certain types of content is so it keeps you enraged and engaged. So then you're on the platform longer. If you're on the platform longer, you're going to see more advertisements. If you're seeing more
Yeah.
advertisements, they're going to get more money.
Dude,
So
YouTube is
it's
unwatchable for me sometimes.
all about advertising. It's really wild.
Do you
So
ever watch
I
it and like you can't get 2
YouTube,
minutes without an ad? Yeah. Like,
I
well,
I
you don't, you pay for some YouTube
yeah, I
membership.
haven't seen an
I
ad
don't.
on YouTube in like 15 years
Oh, it's
since
predatory now.
yeah.
Like if I just want to listen to 3 hours of singing bowl music, I'm gonna get hit with like 60 ads. Like it's gonna be very disruptive. So I'm like,
I
okay, I'll just find
remember
this art.
before I quit Instagram and and Facebook and all that stuff, like what, every like 3 posts was an ad. So I'm sure
Yeah.
it's gotten even worse today. Like that was like 2 years ago. I'm sure it's
Yeah.
even worse and more predatory. Like I don't know, understand why people use them. I mean, sure, they use them because they have their feeds kind of fine tuned, and that's where their creators or
Yeah.
celebrities are at and everything. But man, I couldn't imagine seeing those type of ads constantly in front of my face. It'd be
If it's a
daunting.
podcast I like on YouTube, I usually end up going to Fountain to just like, I'll just listen to it. Like I'll watch Presidio Bitcoin and get hit with 6 ads, and I'm like, you know what? I will go listen on Fountain and I will zap them sats per minute.
Give them sats directly to them, because they're gonna get a larger cut of that than they're gonna get from the ads on YouTube.
Well, what I've noticed with people? I think people are becoming a lot more conscious of how they use their apps and their, all their digital things, their phone. And like my niece is very, very good at this. I love Gen Z. They're so smart. They're just tired. They're not going to take it. They're just doing things their own way. And my niece, she's like, well, I have my phone set so that I only use apps for 3 hours a day. And I put
You can
limits
do
on
that.
She does do that. And I know
It's
a
good to
guy
have
who,
those type of tools, right? Like
yeah,
because that means that people
there's
recognize
limits,
that apps are
boundaries.
addictive, phones are addictive, and they've set boundaries. I think
Yeah.
that that's why people like Nostr, because the developers recognize that this is bad for humanity, so
But for your
they
attention.
don't. They don't build apps that have these algorithms that keep people coming back. But then developers are in kind of like a catch-22 scenario where they're like, oh, people, people are not coming back to my app, and like the 30-day retention is very bad. We're like,
Little hits of
well,
the ego.
because you don't have these like rage algorithms to keep people coming back. So that's
Yeah.
good, but it's also tough to keep people, a reminder for people to keep opening up your app and using your app if you don't do these type of things. And they understand that and they don't want to do that.
Nostr, like, I think there are times when it's really active and there's times when it's kind of slow, and maybe there's days that are slow, and like you're not, like, if you have notifications on, you're not going to be tempted to open it unless it's one of those days where everybody's in a tizzy about something and there's memes and there's jokes going back and forth, or we're having a zapathon where you post a meme and everybody zaps you and you make, a couple bucks or whatever. But like, and those things are kind of fun, so it's like you're getting something different out of it. Like you get to curate your experience. You don't have to fight the technology, it's like you're working with it, you're changing your relationship with it. Like I know a guy who actually puts his phone in grayscale. Have you seen people do this where you change the colors of your phone so that you don't see little red bubbles of notifications and you're more at
Yeah.
peace because it's more
Yeah,
zen.
my phone will do that in 2 hours.
Yeah. I do red
I have
mode
it.
at night.
Yeah, I have mine go to grayscale at 11 o'clock
See?
at night to basically let me know, hey, time to go to bed. But it's
Yeah.
so easy to be turned off. I turn it off a lot of times too.
Yeah.
So let's move on a little bit from talking about all about the purple verse here to a little bit of adjacent stuff. Like we have some live events that are coming up here in the next week or so.
You're going to a thing, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to a thing. I'm going to a conference called Imagine If in Nashville. Imagine If. It's for dreaming big about AI and Bitcoin and energy. And
that's up our alley.
Yeah, right. Like
we
that's
like that.
Absolutely up our. I like all of these things.
We are very interested in the use of energy for Bitcoin and AI. Very interested in this. Okay,
so
but you're
Matt Odell.
Though.
Well, yeah. So Matt Odell, who's he has a VC firm, 1031. He's a podcaster, has various podcasts. Friend of the show. What were we saying last? FOD, friend of Derek.
Friend of Derek. Well. He's FOD.
He's a FOD. Yeah, Odell. He's going to be moderating. He's going to be moderating a panel called Decentralizing Communication in the Age of Control. And myself and Sean Yeager are going to be his panelists, and we're going to talk about decentralization, freedom of speech, infrastructure, user-controlled identity, user-controlled content, and basically all things Nostr, and talking about why Nostr is good and why we love the Nostr. So that's coming up here on September 20th at 9 a.m. in the morning if you're there. I will be live in Nashville. I'm excited for that.
Can I watch online? I'm not going to be in Nashville. Can I watch online?
I'll tell you what, I honestly don't know.
I'll figure it out.
If I had to, I'm not going to guess because I don't want to be wrong. I'm going to say I don't know.
Okay. If I figure out that we can watch them online, I will post it on the Soapbox, Twitter, and Nostr. How about that?
Speaking of Soapbox, what's going on in our world? Have we been doing anything worth mentioning?
Ooh, lots of things worth mentioning, but are we allowed to mention them is the other question.
All right, so I'll say I've been in some management product meetings. We've done some things. We've updated the MVP.
Are you going to leak something?
I'm not going to leak it.
Okay.
No. I'm just saying we've been working on the MVP, and we have some new features that are in the MVP. I have no clue what I'm talking about, but all I want to say is we're working hard on it.
An MVP is a minimum viable product.
I thought it was most valuable player.
That too, which it could be that. It could be both. But yeah, we have things that we're working on that are going to make your life easier and more enjoyable.
Fingers crossed, confidence high. Fingers crossed, confidence high. If you're a community builder, man, you're going to love it. You're going to love it.
You're going to love this because, yeah, I don't want to say anything.
We can't give it away. But we're working on it. I'm excited. We're using it. We're doing the dog food. And
when I say we're working on it, I mean that we're working hard on it and that somebody's always working on it 24/7 around the clock. That's
I literally have to review a pull request as soon as we're done here tonight.
It never ends. Like we had a hackathon. It never ends. The hackathon was like the start of it. Like we were nowhere near done with it.
It's coming. Yeah. So it's coming in a few weeks still. I can't say that it's more than 2 weeks, so I can't say the 2 weeks soon meme.
No.
It's probably
I think maybe
4 weeks. I don't know. Coming soon.
I may invite a friend or two to try it out and see what I might have. Maybe not normie friends because it might scare them at this point, but I have some friends that maybe I might have them try it. Does that make you nervous?
Yes.
I brought down the mood.
We have some performance issues that we're working on and going to be fixed. That's actually the PR that I need to review.
That's why it's not ready for normie friends.
So yeah, we're not ready for friends and family yet. I would say
give us a week. alpha testers who were just like, yeah, I get that this is kind of messed up still. It's kind of get it,
And
but
so,
we're working really fast on this.
and
too,
hopefully a week, probably 2 weeks, 3, 4 weeks. It's coming soon. I can't say. Anyways.
Yeah, we should shut up because now we're just
we're gonna accidentally
teasers.
leak it, and then people are gonna be mad at us. All right. So, anyways, so we're working on that.
Shakespeare
Is still coming along. You know, I don't think we have any new updates for Shakespeare Act 2. We're trying to make it more personal and more fun. There's some things that developers are looking at that
and easier
might come to fruition. Like, we had a big discussion about this voice to text. So if we can get this figured out, well, you know, those of you that do voice to text and dictation, you'll be happy talking to Shakespeare. Maybe he'll have like a Victorian sounding like British accent.
That would be fun. Can we make it sound like you? Can we, you know, since you work for the company,
we don't need an AI Derek.
We could take an AI Derek and make you work for us, so we'll be proprietary about the sound of your voice. I can do that though. I'm pretty sure I know how to do that.
I'm pretty sure
a fake Derek say things.
Oh man. Okay. I think that's really it for our soapbox update. Like, I don't really have anything exciting to say, just teasers, and teasers aren't fun. So we're going to stop there. Podster's launching soon, hopefully in the next week. Podster, you'll be able to download it and try it, and more importantly, use it for this podcast.
I'm going to try it for Radio Detox. I have a podcast that I want to try it with, and I'll see.
Well, if you need help setting it up, you know who you DM, right?
Oh, right, dude. I'm going to be sliding into Derek's DM.
I know. I'm super excited. Just let me tell you.
This is how many Nostr apps now that you have made? Like 16, I think?
Too many. Vibe coding is the death of Derek. He's not like vibe coding means that all these apps that I've always wanted to build, I can build, and I build them, and now I have too many.
Do you wake up in the middle of the night and think about it though? Like I do that, where I'm like,
I will give you the honest to God truth is I think about every single app that I've made, and if I haven't updated it recently, I feel bad, and I get like I remember, I'll say real developers. Yes, I'll say real developers building all of their real apps, and whenever they wouldn't update it for a long time, maybe I would kind of be like, I would get slightly agitated that they were moving on to the next app while their current app was broken, and then they moved on to the third, the fourth, the fifth, kind of abandoning. And now I get it. You know, I get the scatterbrainness.
So given this story, this last story that you just told, on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the most, 1 being the least, how much is this episode like a Seinfeld for nerds? Off the charts. Like, it's like an 11. It's like,
I'll tell you what. No, you are absolutely right, and that's going to be the title of this episode. Seinfeld for nerds.
It's recorded. Is that Derek just said to me? He said, "You're exactly right. I'm going to make that my ringtone or something. Like I'm going to just have that. Like That's never
Seinfeld for nerds. That needs to be Nostr's new tagline. Like we need to get that on a T-shirt, and both of us, and we can wear Seinfeld for nerds.
I know a guy who makes T-shirts. Shout out to Sam.
Oh yes, Sam. Shout out to Sam. All right, Heather, it was fun. We rambled, we ranted, we talked about decentralization, we talked about how we got into Nostr, we talked about why we like Nostr, why it's cool. Hopefully you learned a few things, and hopefully we confused you enough to make you come back and learn more.
Maybe you're curious. Nostr is for the curious.
Nostr curious?
Nostr curious. It's for the curious. Come to Nostr, make stuff. That you can post wherever the hell we got people selling jerky. We got people with composition, like concertos that are 11 minutes long. And you can post an 11-minute long video on Nostr. No limits. So like, do your thing. Bring your thing and do it.
I was really confused there for a second, but I understand what you meant. Like, I thought you were talking about 11 toes. Like, thanks for watching, and catch us on Fountain and where you find all your favorite podcasts. We're going to be there.
And YouTube until we get banned from there.